Should homosexuals be able to legally adopt kids? Nope. And we're going to prove to y'all why. Don't go to nowhere. We will be right back. Hello, everybody out there. Thanks for tuning in to Too Strong. Too Strong is always better than one. My voice will get better one day. Y'all watch. Just watch and see. This ain't
I was
permanent.
going to say the same thing. Like,
My
I
God,
think
man.
it's a permanent change.
Yeah, it left and came back or something. I don't know what's going on. But listen, y'all,
I like it, though. I like
the voice. It work out?
Yeah,
It made me feel
good.
It made me look more like a grown man.
I think it's charismatic.
It's curious. Okay, let's go.
Yeah, add some flavor to you. You know what I'm saying?
Marley want me to feel better, y'all. See, that's called brotherly love. He said, "Man, you sound a mess, but I'm making him feel good. You know, he feel good, he do good." But yeah, hit that like button and that share button and all that good stuff. This is a really interesting conversation because this inclusivity. Say that word.
Inclusivity.
Yeah, that I get twisted sometimes. It's getting out of hand. You know what I'm saying? And it's to the point to where now it's getting in the way of the safety of our children. Let me put this email up there. It's man, it's getting bad. It's getting worse and worse and worse. But yeah, so these gay parents decided to adopt some kids, and the Christian organization allowed this to happen. And we're gonna get to the bottom of this and discuss it. So yeah, look at Marley. We're like, this is sickening.
It's bad.
It is, though. It really is. Bad. It's really bad. So let's walk it from the beginning, Marley, from where you know it.
Yeah. So we'll break this down into a couple of pieces here. These two individuals adopted. We'll get to their name in time, but I'm just going to call them Thing 1 and Thing 2 for now.
Man,
Thing 1 and Thing. Yeah, what's that?
It them they.
It them they. What you call it? Who's a fudget? I don't know. These disgusting human beings. These two went to an adoption agency to get some kids. The place is called All God's Children in Georgia. This particular branch that they got the children from has since been closed down, but the organization is still functioning. They still have a YouTube page. They still have a Facebook page. They still have an Instagram page. They still have a Twitter. They have everything still. And their entire mantra is being inclusive. And no child is ready to be an orphan. And they really don't have any real criteria when it comes to, apparently, I can only gauge from their results, no criteria when it comes to the men and women that they traffic children to, is what we're going to call it what it is. They're trafficking children. There's no way you can legally, mentally look at these two and think it's a good idea. Let's lend them to these two. So with that particular organization, they also have links to the Boys and Girl Club via the people that they use for donation. And we've already been through the Boys and Girls Club, so we know what they're capable of. So it's not far-fetched to think that this organization is also well aware of the history of these two men. So if you have any affiliation with All God's Children International, write them and tell them to close their doors because they're Satanists and they're not doing God's work whatsoever. And I can only hope that the entire structure burns to the ground.
Yeah.
Because this is ridiculous to me.
You know, these Christian organizations has gotten to the point to where they just living off of the word Christian.
Right.
And that's it. Just say you're a Christian, credibility is on. And nowadays, I mean, I guess, well, I used to say, well, maybe back in the day, you thought you could depend on that. Now it's clear that you can't. When you hear that word Christian, don't just bite all of a sudden. I used to put it on my on my job applications. I'm a Christian. You get a job because everybody want to hire a Christian. They think you're a good guy. You know what I'm saying? They think you're a good person. So nowadays, man, just they use that word, and it's almost like getting to the point to where you be like, "You a what?" And then it make you do a triple take, and that's sad to have to think like that, man. You would think that a Christian organization gonna rent some. I mean, not rent. I didn't mean to say that. Adopt some kids to some homosexuals is crazy, man. Crazy.
Yeah. It at first when we heard the story, it was on surface it was bad. Okay, just on the surface that you abused some children that you adopted and possibly trafficked, and that was for that detail, it was already off the charts. And then more information started pouring in that made it exponentially worse. That how long it's been going on. It was since 2019 that there was initial allegations made, um, and nothing was done about it. That's the key here: is that nothing was done about it. This is their doorstep. Okay, this is their doorstep. Now, I'm not a smart human being by any stretch of the imagination, but can somebody please explain to me why are you raising children with this mindset and bringing them home? It's also alleged by photographic information that they notoriously walked around the house naked in front of the kids. That was their deal. That was their thing, because they were trying to teach the children um, comfort of self.
Well, they would listen to that. What's that dude name?
The prophet guy,
Yeah,
the what's his name? Yeah, I know what you're talking about. We just covered him the other day.
yeah, him.
Yeah, that fool. So here are some of the details of this case. It's a 17 count indictment, um, dating back to 2019, 2021. Um, and the brothers were enrolled in a third and fourth grade. That's the boys that they adopted. Um, they were repeatedly forced into oral and sodomy by both parents on a consistent basis. All of this is from the children's mouth, not from um, anything the adults said. They the kids are now 11 and 9, I think, and they asked the children exactly what took place. When they raided the home, they found pictures, they found audio, they found video, they found contacts of trafficking, and they arrested 2 other men that were directly linked to the trafficking by the pictures being taken of the boys, sent to these men via Snapchat, and inviting them to come to the home, and in some cases wanting to send the boys over to where the men were. And the men were going to have multiple other men there as well. Um, the exact details of the case is still being fleshed out, but they have been finding more and more and worse information about things. The other 2 men that were involved in the situation were these 2. This is the first one. Okay, Luis Vizcarro Sanchez. He was one of the men that were involved in the exchange between the 2 other so-called parents for the trafficking side. Uh, Multiple messages were found between the 2, and the other person that was found to be involved was this individual, Hunter Lawless. Perfect name for a deranged individual. They both had interactions with the parents, and they both were pro LGBTQ activists. All 4 pro LGBTQ activists, and all of them were how should we say this, involved with that particular act. Um, the bigger question I think we have facing us is, how does a Christian organization under well I can't even use that term rightly, a organization claiming to be Christian, how about that?
Yeah, you gotta get this jumping
You
off.
got a Christian organization allow the adoption of two males into the custody of two disgusting homosexual men, and that's what they are. I don't care if you disagree or not. It ain't, I don't really have two cents to give about your disagreement. Like,
Yes.
disagree all day, be mad, stay mad. It's nasty. And that's what they did. They gave it to them, and I haven't heard one single alphabet soup apologist say anything in defense of these children. In fact, they won't say anything because this is exactly what they're going for.
Yeah, and they like it and they love it and they will continue to do it as long as they're allowed to. And they sick and disgusted and nasty and trifling. Period. And it's okay. And then I know people say, um, well they get taken care of in prison. Maybe not. Maybe not. I believe now. I'm gonna find out here in a little bit, but I believe that even in prison, this thing has maybe become so common that it's like, oh, them pedophiles over there, no big deal. Let them be over there by themselves. I don't know. I'm gonna ask. You know what? I'm gonna ask. When Corey called, I'm gonna ask him. We never talked about that. You know what I'm saying? I really want to know what's the real uh, going on inside of there with these sickos. I'm almost willing to bet that people just kind of be like, that's them. As long as they stay over there. And,
That's
you
what I
know,
always hear. What
huh?
right do you have to tell? Well, that's what I always hear. What right do you have to tell people how to live their life? This is why we have the right to tell people how to live.
Yeah,
This is why.
yeah. I mean, for the protection. Listen, rules are in place for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Laws are in place for a reason. And I'm not talking about the land. I'm talking about God. You know what I'm saying? He made these things clear. I don't know where people see this the danger. This is the danger of this, y'all. Y'all do the same thing that the homosexuals do. Look and read something right in the Bible that you say you believe. Always got to say that. The one you say you believe. You read it right in the Bible and then say, but no, but what they really say, and what if this and that? Well, then that's what the homosexuals are doing. They learned it from y'all. They learned that from the people that started twisting the Bible a long time ago. You sit there and do that mess, and then when the homosexuals and the gays do it, I can't believe they said that. Well, look, y'all doing the same thing. Reading right in the Bible. It says something, and then you turn around and say, nope. So that's where they get that from. So just remember that. So when you're doing stuff, just know. Maybe you taught them that. Maybe y'all gave them to. So I ain't gonna say it all. I'm just saying some of y'all gave them excuse to do that, because we've had plenty of conversations where we're sitting there showing you something right there, and it right there is written right in your face, and you deny it and say it means something else. And it's the same thing they're doing. So whatever.
I said some time ago that there should be no organization such as a Christian adoption agency. And I stand by that 1,000,000%. Here is why. Um, the book itself, the Bible says that we are to take care of the widow and the orphan, right?
Mm.
That's the job of God's people, not the adoption agency, none of that. The widow and the orphan is the job of his body to take care of. Instead, we go to the government and create an entity for adoption. And not only that, we relegate it out to homosexuality and do zero background checks about whether they are even God-fearing human being. And not just, I believe in God. You don't do the job that you are told to do. We're more interested in going out and starting a weed farm, right? Yeah. We're more interested in getting the next Potter's house. Yeah, we're more interested in starting a new building, buying a new plane, right? That's now become the whole body. That's now the church. right? See how big our church can get. See how many members we can get to. How great our musicians are.
$200
That's
million
what
dollar airplanes.
that's what we get. That's what we got to now. And then we wonder why things like this happen. Mind you, this was a Christian adoption agency that thrived on inclusivity. Inclusivity. Wherever, e- ever did God ever say to include everybody and everything? In
Never.
fact, it last I checked, it was quite a elite group. It is quite a narrow. It said narrow, right? Narrow is the way. Very narrow. I don't see
Very.
how do you fit many people through a net? No, no, no. We're not being particular enough, and we're definitely not doing our job. We're not. In fact, we're leaving it to every other person to do it. All God's children is the name of the organization. All God's children. Um, this event now, this is how it could have been avoided, and this is where inclusivity gets you. This is the worst part. In 2011, Zachary, one of the parents, was alleged to be messing with a 14-year-old boy in the same area in his county, not even some other state. A 14-year-old boy, luring him to his residence and having his way with him. The boy was damaged from this act. Nothing was done. No investigation, nothing. That was in 11. And then he was allowed to adopt an even younger child with his supposed spouse, and ends up raping both boys and trafficking. Mind you, they got these kids from people who said that they believed in God. This is where we have now relegated life to. This is how we have come so far. We have given all authority to man and taken nothing, no kind of instruction from God anymore. We'll take his title. We're going to take all of the benefits of his name and don't do nothing about following him. You have a recording there, uh, uh, Corey, that we can play now. I know for some of us, when we hear of pedophiles getting arrested, I'm sorry to say this, but I'm not sorry to say this. I don't want them being treated nicely. I'm sorry. If it's proven, heck no. Treat him like you would any thug. Probably worse. I'm sorry, but probably worse. Pedophiles, man, they ain't no, in my book, there's no sympathy for them anywhere in my book, like at all, like none. So I want you guys to listen to this real quick and tell me if you don't hear some irony. Here we go.
They come in blazing with AK-47s or whatever.
How many people was it?
10, 15, a lot. They were doing like a drug bust or something.
Yeah, you can tell in Zach's mugshot that he has a big bruise on the left side of his face.
Yeah,
But
they slammed him against the floor in the foyer. He had bruises on his knees, his face. They slammed him on the floor, and I hate to say this, but I don't sleep in clothes, so they arrested me in my bed naked, put me in a cruiser with no clothes. I sat in the back of that cruiser from 11:30 to about 4 a.m. naked in the back seat of that cruiser while they searched our house for God knows what.
Don't mention God. Don't even mention God.
They seized the house, everything inside of it, and all of our cars on the property. think they took our house because they think there was extra money coming in from somewhere, and we're like in our 30s and we have this big giant house, and they didn't think we could afford it.
Victim card, right?
I mean, can I ask you, does this guy know you at all, or some random thing he's just trying to, rat somebody? I mean, can I ask you that, or?
So last time he was here, I told him something, and I told you last time he was here. I told him something. I wrote him down something, gave it to him. It's something around those lines, but more.
Me and Zach worked our butts off for everything we've had. And they called me out front again for fingerprints, and I saw the new charges that they're putting against, I'm assuming both of us. There's 17 charges.
You can end it there. Can't hear you. Muted.
I find it really odd that they seem to be unbothered.
I don't. That's the bit. They're just doing it because we are successful. Successful.
Yeah, they gave us
It's
17 more charges.
It's the victimhood mindset.
Oh, but don't
I didn't
worry,
get the sympathy card.
we know people, so don't worry. We're the LGBTQ, buddy. We'll get out of this. That's how they sound.
Wow.
That's how they sound, bro. I mean, then you saying that they think some extra money is coming from somewhere. Duh.
Yeah, trafficking.
You trafficking, you running a prostitution ring with kids. What do you mean extra money? Yes, they're gonna take the house, buddy. And thank God for whoever did the investigation and headed it and the arrest. I think that these people don't get enough credit. And I'm gonna tell you why. We can say they're just doing their job, but here's the thing. Especially in today's climate, it seems like it's getting less and less normal to investigate these kind of things and actually make arrests and follow through with it. So I thank God for the investigators, the police, whoever was involved that thought enough to help these children, because I'm sure they're getting backlash right in their office. Hey, John. Yeah, nice job, idiot. I could imagine, I mean, we get called coons and stuff, so I can only imagine what kind of names they got for these people in the office. So I really tip my hat to them for following through with it and making this thing happen.
Did you hear something that this is what really pissed me off in this whole he said, do you know this guy that said that he was going to send him material? Do you know him? Well, I had met him and I told him something along those lines, but more. So let me get this right. You are unsure about why they raided your home. You think it's because you're such good, upstanding people and you're too rich. Yet you admit on the phone that you told somebody who just snitched on you that you were going to not just send them something that they mentioned, but more.
And you wrote it down on a piece of paper.
And that is not the big deal to you. That should be that shouldn't be an arrest. But you're concerned that they're coming after you for what you make money on. One of two things has to be true about these people. They're mentally deranged or they're satanic. And it could be both. I get it. It could be both. Or they know full well that nothing will happen to them.
Mm-hmm. I think they believe in that they're going to get away with it. On top
and
of
they might. And they might. That's the scary part, is that they might indeed get away with this. You could easily see them getting painted as well. If the Christian organization trusted them, there must be some good to them. And this all happened by mistake. And you need to be lenient on them because they didn't know. And watch Oprah come forward and say, well, if the kids liked it, then you can't really arrest the children, arrest the adults for anything. They might have just been having mutual fun. You think it's far-fetched? You think that's beyond the pale? That would never happen, right? That's what you think would never happen. Think again. Think again. What happened to Balenciaga? Tell me. What legal actions happened to them at all? Nothing. Exactly. Nothing. Nothing.
So
Nothing's
yeah,
going to happen.
so yeah, so you're exactly right, Martin. I just looked it up. It's close to a 50% chance that they get away with this. It's almost 50-50. It's close to, in the 50s, different, but that's terrible. That's terrible. The drug conviction rate in the federal is, I think, 98, 99%. It's almost like when you get caught, you're not beating this
Automatic.
case.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's not going to happen, right? So you take a plea bargain. You know the deal. Because if you fight it, you're going to get a whole lot of years. But guess where that's not happening at? With these pedophiles. A 50% conviction rate? Oh, God.
How much did Epstein get? How much did Maxwell get? Have we seen the list of that yet? No. Why? Because they run the world.
Yeah.
They run the world. Look, we said this some time ago, and people probably don't remember. This is when we were doing Corey and Marlon, way back in the day. We had talked about the fact that this is not only going on here, but it was going on back in the first Bush era, the Carter era. This was going on. George Bush Sr. was a notorious one. For those who don't know, you think his son is any different? No. Clinton's one, Obama's one, Joe Biden's one. Do you think if it goes that high, that for some reason these peons are going to just be like, get away? No, they're not going to just put in jail. They're not. They're protected by one of the largest organizations on earth. They are protected by it. We are living in what I would like to call Sodom and Gomorrah, the upgrade. It's everywhere. It's in every song. It's about how you live. Men are now women. Women are now, and you hardly hear about women being men, by the way. I don't know if you realize that, but you hear a lot about men being women. There's an onslaught of attack against females. There's an onslaught attack against the men for a specific reason. And if you don't have the men, what do you have happening? Stuff like this. Because I guarantee you, those are not men. Those two individuals are not men. They may be males, but they're not men.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's a mental getting out of hand.
It's a mental. Listen, at all costs, if you go to an organization to adopt kids and you're gay, then something's mentally wrong with you. We're not giving any kids to you because you're mentally unstable. Period. And you know who fell in this the most? And it's a sad thing for them to even be in a position like this. The church, the so-called church. Because just like you said earlier, Marlon, it is the job of the Christian folk to take care of these kids and these widows. And it's not happening. It's not happening. You know why? Because everybody's so busy buying airplanes and multi-$100 million houses and all that. You know what I'm saying? And spending all this money on these fancy shoes and $3,000 boots and all this different crazy stuff. $200,000 watches. It's bad. So then, you break this thing down and you look at all this money going, look, we're sending billions of dollars to Ukraine. To a war that they said they winning. If they winning, we quit sending them money. Let them win. But all this money, you can give this money, you can pay decent families to adopt these kids. But they don't want to give them to the decent families. They tell you you have a propensity for violence. Or you had too many you had too many speeding tickets. No, I've heard that one, Marlon. A propensity for violence. Let me tell you, first hand, my sister and I. This is how it started. My sister was doing she joined the program so she can get foster kids, and they paid you, I don't know, $1,100 a month at the time or whatever. And she said, "Hey, why don't you come take the class with me?" So I just took the class with her for support, and I wasn't looking to get any kids, but they kicked me out the class. Told me I had a propensity for violence. Where did you get that from? You know, and so that shows you they don't want these children in decent homes. They rather give them to some homosexuals with homosexual charges. They didn't have a charge, or was it an accusation? What's going on with that?
It was an accusation by the individual that was abused, and
Wow.
nothing was done about it. Nothing.
Wow.
Nothing was done. So the average cost of adoption is around $25,000 for all of to do the stuff. $25,000. If it's the job of the church to take care of widows and orphans, no church, and I mean no church, should see a single profit in America. Like you shouldn't be making money as a church. Like, honestly, you should not be. All that money should be going to be doing something that you are called to do, and specifically, unequivocally, widows and orphans. There should be no adoption charge to any Christian parent wanting to adopt a child. There shouldn't be an adoption charge at all, because the church should easily swoop in and say, I'm paying for that right now. Go ahead. Just like that. It should be an automatic thing. It doesn't happen because they're more concerned about getting you to come send them some donation funds, send them some money.
But they got millions and billions of dollars to study the wind blowing. Why the wind blow like that? Hey, here go 200 million. Figure it out. It's crazy. But this is what it is now. And listen, this is what this country should invest in. I'm gonna break it down to you real easy, real fast. Putting the men in position to be the head. If I was the president, this is what I would do. I would take away the welfare benefits and all the benefits. I would take it away from the women and give it to the men, and then put a stipulation on it. You got X amount of time to get right, and you're coming off of it. And then, you know what? I hate to say it, so y'all can call me too nice. And if they mess up, I'll give them another chance. This is where we really fix our problems. Now, why does that make sense, ladies and gentlemen? Because it goes side by side with the order of God. We have allowed this government to put the power in the hands of the woman, and it's just not working out. Because now we got these little kids going around here making babies that they don't want to take care of. And so they give them to the system, and the system is trafficking them and doing all kind of other crazy stuff. But if the man was in charge and we had our order, God would have his hand on the whole thing the whole time.
All time.
And we'd be walking in a much better on a much better land now. But we refuse to do that because we want to keep talking about women rights and this, women that. And I don't understand, what rights are women fighting for? What are you fighting for?
I can tell you one.
Yeah,
the right to murder a child.
Yeah, how about that?
That's one of the big ones they're fighting for.
There's no law that I know of that's specifically for men.
You got the right to remain silent. That's your
yeah.
You got the right to shut up. That's what.
Yeah, man. We have to put the power in the hands of the man. That's just. I'm telling you, you can start all the programs you want. You can do all the speaking and preaching and motivational speaking you want to do, but until the man is in power, and I said power, until the man is in charge, that's it. Then we talk about this 50-50. Don't make sense. How? I'm going to give you half of me, and then I take half of her, and I think I'm gonna make 100. No, I'm gonna give. I am 100%, and you are 100%. But here's how that line up though. You're 100% woman, and I'm 100% man, and we're gonna put 100 and 100 together, and what does that average out to be? 100. There's no such thing as 50-50 mess. You asking me to be half a man, and you asking my wife to be half a woman. I want your all. And who determined what all was?
God. Yep.
So until we submit to that, we're going to have major problems going forward.
Major.
We see it now, right? But it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. We got to be 100, not 50-50. That's dumb.
Do you want to hear a staggering number?
I really do. Okay. I really don't.
All right. There are 443,000 orphans in the United States. I'm going to say that number again. 443,000 orphans in the United States. Kenneth Copeland is worth $300 million. His organization and ministry, all of it, $300 million. If you were to take that income and divide it by the 25,000 that's needed, you'd be able to adopt out 12,000 kids. A dent, not really. A start, definitely.
Man, but okay, but look at it like, and I trust me, right? I know you on the right here, but I want to draw this picture, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can, okay, so you said it's 443,000, orphans, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he got enough money to take care of how many? 12,000?
12,000 of them.
Okay, and that sound like, man, that's not a lot. But just imagine walking into a huge building with 12,000 kids that's been rescued from being an orphan. That turns into a lot of kids. 12,000 kids that have a better opportunity to change their life and walk in the right direction and follow God. But he would rather fly around in a $20 million airplane and get out the airplane and get in a $10 million car and ride around and say God is good. And we wonder what's going on. And then people wonder why I say, no, I don't go to no church. No, I haven't found one. Not necessarily looking either. You don't have to look like that when you're led by the Spirit. But the point is, and then what we're doing? We feeding these people. We are feeding these people. We feeding these people. Stop feeding a dog that'll bite you. It's going to get strong, break the chain, and kill you. Stop feeding it. And that's what we're doing. We're feeding a dog. Stop feeding them dogs.
Now, that was just Kenneth. Joel, 100 million. These are just two. Okay. We haven't talked on Duplantis, Jakes, Creflo. And that's only 5. 5 men have enough money to procure the adoption of almost 40,000 children. And they are more concerned about what they can make and call it godly when they're ignoring the very fundamental thing we're called to do. Again, a number of 443,000 kids. These people can take care of 10% of that. Just 5 of them. Just 5. And for a fact there are way more. I would venture to say there are probably somewhere in the region of 70 to 80 overly rich pastors and preachers in this country.
Okay, watch this. Now let's do this. Let's make it simple because we know where the money came from.
Mm-hmm.
The money came from we the people.
Mm-hmm.
So now what if we the people quit giving them all that money, right? And even down to the smaller churches, the small ones, the medium-sized ones, the large. Just imagine if everybody woke up and quit paying what they call tithes to the churches and adopted an orphan.
Corey, you ready for this number? If 25 mega pastors were able to do what Copeland does, which they can, at 12,000 kids, they would take care of 300,000 children.
There it is. We more than halfway there.
300 out of the 443,000 instantly taken care of, because all that money is now wrapped up where? In someone else's pocket to fly around the country and say,
Africa, 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 Africa. Remember? All these
right?
weirdos.
That's what we putting our money in now. That's how we say, this is how God has called me to give to these clowns. God ain't calling to give to them clowns. They got nothing to do with God. They have nothing to do with God. They don't know him. They don't love him. They got nothing. They have not brought one person to salvation. Not in their entire life have they brought one single person. They are more interested in being like this adoption agency that gave these two homosexuals the rights to rape children. They're just as bad. You think it's a stretch? No. You leading a soul to hell is no different than you standing in the same room while these two men abuse children. I'm going to say it out loud in front of everybody. You mega church people, Joel Osteen, T.D. Jakes, and all you fools are no different than the two homosexual men that got these kids and raped them. You might as well have been in the room and participated, because you know what? You did something just as egregious. You are leading millions to hell. Now, you might think this might be off limits. It is not, and it's not off topic at all, because we are talking about how we got here. This whole story came out of the well works about how it was a Christian adoption agency that did it. They were quick. They were quick to do that.
It's terrible. It's terrible. So what do we do here? What do we do here? It's a tough one. I mean, you know, you look at it and you attribute it to people that are in charge. And we have to start holding people accountable. Stop voting for these clowns when they support this mess. Please. Look where it's getting us. It's putting us in a really, 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 really bad spot. And thinking about, like, just think about the kids, man. You know, all the time when I make decisions, honest to God, I make decisions, I say, how is that going to affect my kids when I'm gone? Think about this stuff. Quit thinking about all these right nows. Right now. You know, I don't know, man.
I'll explain that statement in a minute here.
Go ahead. Sneak the A word.
I'm going to make sure I explain the statement without explaining the statement. So here's an explanation. The same way that the Catholic Church has taken the name of God and run roughshod over people by perverting the name and perverting the mission of God, it's the same way that people on a daily basis do the exact same thing. Children belong to God, and they perverted children. Marriage belongs to God, and they perverted marriage. Women and men by nature belong to God, and they perverted that too. Everything the devil touches can be perverted. The only way to avert that is to be inundated with God, period. Everything can be perverted. You can get a direct message from God to do something. Case in point, eating is from God, right? He told us to eat. But he told Adam and Eve, don't eat that. You know what Adam and Eve did? Ate that. They perverted eating. That's how bad it got, to the point where food then became a contamination. Right? Everything can be perverted if you let it be perverted.
And that's what we're doing.
We let this stuff go on for how long now? We shut up. Look, do you remember some time ago? And I think people probably forget this, but Corey, I'm pretty sure you'll remember this. There was a running theme some time ago. Oh, shut up with all that Bible stuff. Shut up with all that God stuff. You remember some time ago that was all the rage for people to say?
Yes, it sure was.
Okay, y'all remember that? And then soon after, they called you a Jesus freak. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And then right after that, they took it to the next level and said, you can't even talk about God in a public forum. Remember that? And what did we do? We obeyed. We shut up. And when you shut up, what happened? You're looking at the result right here. We allowed everything to go
we
to
shut
the
up. We shut up and the devil showed out.
Showed out. You want to know how these little perverted, nasty, disgusting, two sick individuals got hold of children in order to abuse them? Blame yourself. Blame us. We were quiet. We were quiet to the point where we allowed them to take the one symbol. Listen to this carefully. We are now in an era where the symbol of hope of the rainbow is now more affiliated with being gay than being God's. Yeah. The rainbow today, children will see the rainbow and think the flag before they think Noah. Explain that to me. Explain that to me. It is now the international symbol of disobedience, when originally it was the international symbol of faith. Like,
wow.
Y'all understand this nonsense? We let it get here. We let it get here. We have allowed everything man touches to be perverted, and we sat by and let it happen. I will take full blame for my silence for the last 30 plus years. I will take full responsibility for that. We're not at a stage now where we can shut up, though. Now you know. Now is the time where you don't care about their feelings. Screw their feelings. Screw all their feelings.
You better know it.
I don't care if you get sad, get mad, protest, touch me and try something stupid. Go ahead. Tell me to shut up and see what happens. I don't care about your feelings. Your feelings mean nothing to me. You can take your mentally deranged crap and shove it. I don't care what you do with it, but you ain't going to bring it around me. It's not going to happen. Take your nasty, disgusting, defiled self and go straight to hell if you want. But you ain't going to take my children with you. Go burn. For as long as eternity lasts, go burn. You don't want to follow God? Don't follow God. That's on you. I can't wait to see the end result of your not following, though. And don't ask me to be sympathetic to your means at all. I don't care, because you know better. But what you're not going to do is tell me to shut up. You're not going to do is tell us to be like, oh, you can't say that. You can't. Forget you and what I can't say. No, you're living a disgusting life. And it's totally against God. And the end result, if you want to tell me, well, straight people do not rape children. Gay people rape children. A man raping a little boy is not a straight man. I want to make sure you get this clear to your head. That's a gay individual. And in any case, the same perversion that lies in a straight man raping a young girl is the same perversion that lies in a gay man raping a child, a male. It's the same life. Don't ask me to differentiate the two. It's the same thing. I will call both of them out. And they both need to burn. Unless you turn, but you're going to burn. Understand this. We are not in a place now where we can stop and be quiet. It's done. That time is past. We're past that now. We are at a level where we can no longer sit by and let this stuff happen and then blame all society. And no, it's us. We were quiet for too long. We were quiet for too long.
So here's the bottom line. We have to get the man back in charge. In charge. The head, the boss. Call it what you want to. We got to get rid of this 50-50 stuff and give 100. 100% man, 100% woman. You put them two together, that's 100. And we got to stop being silent and being afraid to get, what they call it, blackballed or cut off. What they call it, canceled
or censored
and all that. We can't listen. We got to speak up against these things. We have to. There's no way we can continue to sit there and watch these people pimp our kids out, and we silent. But yet we watch a TV and send a pastor all the money left on your credit card. And look at a kid that asks you for $1 to buy him a sandwich like he's disgusting. Get out of here. And we
dirty
call
animal.
ourselves, and then we call ourselves Christians. Ladies and gentlemen, do yourself a favor and wake up before you go to sleep. Peace. We out of here.